G'day, Wombat here. In today's quick review, we're going to take a look at this lovely piece of work, the S2 Custom 24 by Paul Reed Smith. So this is the PRS S2 Custom 24. So the S2 versions are like their next level down. So you kind of got the core, what they call the core series, then the S2 series, and then the SE series. So exactly what is an S2 series? Well, an S2 series is kind of SE meets the core series. The guitars are still made in the USA, right next to the core series. So on the same workers, the same bench, everything is the same there. The neck and body are all carved in there. The difference is that with the core series, they make everything themselves. The pickups, the bridges, even the screws, everything. Whereas with the S2 series, they make the body, they make the neck, but they get an outside manufacturer to make more cheaply the versions of the stuff they put in the core series. So they design everything, but they are made outside of the US to keep the cost down. There's also a slightly different carve on the body that just changes it up slightly because the carve on the core series is actually quite an expensive carve in man hours to do, which ups the price again. So this is a slightly more affordable version of a core series guitar, just with some cheaper parts in it, but the neck and body are all made in the US factory. So this particular guitar is in a custom color. This is not part of their regular series colors. It's not limited edition or anything, there's plenty of them around, but it is not part of their regular lineup. It's called Aquamarine Fire Mist, Aquamarine Fire Mist. And as you can see, I'm sure the lights are probably picking this up. It is a really spectacular blue. There's no other way to put it. It is out there. If you don't like bright guitars that are going to make you stand out, then the Fire Mist series of paint jobs are probably not for you, because they all kind of do this. But there you are. So let's have a look at it. It is a mahogany body with a maple cap, a mahogany neck, which once again is finished in that Aquamarine Fire Mist, and it has a rosewood fingerboard with 24 frets, as the name would suggest. The interesting thing about 24 fret Paul Reed Smith guitars, I don't know if you know it or not, if you get the 22 fret, you don't get the last bird, and each of the birds in the inlay are actually a different bird. And on the 24th fret we have an owl, and if you get the 22 fret, the Custom 22 doesn't have that owl. So there's a nice interesting little fact there. The tuners themselves are Paul Reed designed. They are the Paul Reed Smith low mass locking tuners. And yeah, they're PRS branded, obviously made elsewhere than in the US factory, but they are a locking tuner. A little bit different to a lot of locking tuners, but it's a design that Paul Reed Smith have found works that they feel the best for them. So coming down this end, the pickups are 8515S pickups. So they're an aftermarket, or not aftermarket, but they're an overseas made version of their 8515 pickups. The interesting thing is the latest versions of the SE have these pickups, well, some of the models have these pickups in them. So that's quite an interesting little idea. The bridge itself is a PRS patented tremolo. And it is totally designed by them. You can't buy these aftermarket. It is totally designed by them, the same as go in the core series. They're just made out of the US. Funnily enough, the screws here, they don't use the same screws. They actually have designed their own screws for these tremolos to help keep them in tune. and they have a funny little gap in the screw. So these screws, although they're not made in the PRS factory, they're made to that spec, so they also have that funny little gap. So yeah, you've got the two humbuckers, and you've got two volume and a tone. The tone, of course, has a coil tap on it to split them to single coil, a three-way selector switch, and yeah, that's pretty much the guts of the guitar itself. It's nothing super out of the ordinary control layout, or I know PRS sometimes do some odd control layout type stuff, but this is not that. It is fairly straightforward. So let's talk about how it played and how it sounded. The neck itself, always a good place to start, right? The neck is an interesting thing. I've never really had much to do with the S2 or the Core series personally. So when I got a hold of this guitar to try out, I thought I wasn't sure how the neck was going to go, because they have their own neck carves, Paul Reed Smith. They have a pattern regular and a pattern thin, and on the Core series you get a choice of which one you prefer. On the S2 you don't. You get it how it comes. It is a pattern regular neck. Now I wasn't sure if that was going to be chunky or fat in the hand like a baseball bat or what. I wasn't sure, but I can tell you this neck is just divine. I would call this neck fairly thin. It is a C kind of a shape. It's not that D thin that we get on more shreddy style guitars, but it is kind of thin. It's probably a little bit more thin than what I would term a comfortable neck. So it is, even though it's the pattern regular, it is quite thin. I'd hate to feel what the pattern thin would be like, but it is really quite nice. It feels good in the hand. It's easy to get around, and of course at this sort of a price point, the attention to detail is incredible. All the fingerboard edges are rolled like you've been playing it for years, and it is just, this neck is just a joy in the hand. It feels great. It feels fantastic all the way up and down. Absolutely nothing out of place. Perfectly set up, plays beautifully. I couldn't be happier with the way this neck plays. It is really phenomenal. It easily matches anything that I've played at any price point, this neck. It is phenomenally good. All right. The tuners themselves, the locking tuners, a little bit different with the locking on the top here as opposed to the locking knobs on the back, but they work perfectly. They may be made overseas instead of America, but man, there is no slop. They are precise. They do a fantastic job. Just phenomenal. So the bridge, just get that out of the way. Vintage style trems can be hit and miss. We've spoken about this many times before. This is really, really good. It stays in tune. It even takes a little bit of abuse and stays in tune, which doesn't happen often with this sort of a trem system. It is floating, so there is a little bit of up pull there as well. It is phenomenally good. And everything on the guitar feels super quality. The knobs feel quality. The switch is a joy just to switch back and forward. It just sounds great. It feels excellent in the hand. So the quality is all there, let me tell you. It is a phenomenally quality guitar. It is just astoundingly good in the hand. The pickups. So let's talk about the pickups. Now, as you know, I throw everything clean, blues, rock, and metal at these things just to see what they can and can't do. Clean-wise, they were okay. They were adequate. Not great, but not terrible. Adequate, right? The bridge humbucker is a bit harsh in the clean tones. You know, you've got a tone knob, so you can sort of take some of that out, but it is a bit harsh. The neck pickup gets a little bit bassy. Not muddy, just it is its prominent sound is a lot more bass. But they really come alive when you pop this button down here into single coil mode. It does improve things dramatically. You get a good drop in power and a bit of a drop in volume, as you would expect, splitting to single coil, but they do come alive a bit in the clean setting. Same thing with the blues. The humbuckers were okay. but single coil mode was definitely a bit better blues-wise, even producing the occasional stratty kind of a tone, which I found quite interesting. So when we went to rock, that's when these things came alive. The humbuckers were phenomenal. They were really, really good. I couldn't have been happier. They're the kind of humbuckers that when you hit a chord, particularly a nice big power chord, with a good loud amp on a good rock tone, you just kind of go, yeah. It just makes you want to play. Really does. So I was really, really impressed with them. This thing is a rock machine. It is a flat out rock machine. It sounds great. Metal. They will do metal. Okay? Paul Reed Smith in the early days got known as a bit of a metal guitar because they were being used by a few metal guys. They do metal, these pickups. They're not designed for it, but if you're a fan of that lower output pickup doing metal, and I know some of you guys out there prefer a low output pickup for metal, these things will do it. Not necessarily my first choice, but they will do it if you need them to do it. But this thing just eats rock distortion. This is a rock machine, you know, no bones about it. It is a rock machine. It is easy to play. It sounds amazing. And I got to say, this paint job, the more I look at it, the more I'm loving it. So you either love it or you hate it, but for me, I like it. So that is the nuts and bolts of the guitar and how it sounds. It is a phenomenal guitar at a great price. Price is what we're going to talk about now. So they're still not cheap. Recommended retail price for one of these in Australia is about $2,500, $2,500. So that's not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. But when you look at the Core series and they're pushing $5,000, you can see that this is like half price, or some models it's a little less than half price, and you get a guitar of this quality. Man, you can't go wrong. Get your hands on one and try it out for yourself, because they really are something special. These are phenomenal. So there you are. That is the PRS S2 Custom 24 by Paul Reed Smith, and it is a beautiful guitar. All right, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to whack that subscribe button down there, you'll be able to see all the videos that I produce, and don't forget to comment too on the videos. I really love talking to you guys, answering questions. I really enjoy that. So you know, it's a big thing that I want you guys to be more involved, and let me know what you think. Let me know what you've got. If you own one of these, let me know what you think. That would be great to hear from you guys. And as always, rock on, guys!